What's going on, everybody? This is Lady Luck. Oh, welcome back. Welcome back. Lady Luck Club with Sweet Tea here. Okay, so we have another update. I said that I would try my best to keep the updates coming, especially from the aunt, Natasha, that is the sister of Tyrone Sr., as we continue to speak on this case regarding Tyrone Davis Jr. So, interesting things happened yesterday. I did a video. I did get the chance to upload, and I read a few comments where the Valentine's wedding was allegedly is an older wedding, something that occurred about a year or two ago. I was still questioning as to why Tyrone Jr. was not there, or at least in the wedding party, if they were together in a relationship for almost 10 years or 5 years or whatever the magic number is for this week, okay? Because that continues to change and flip-flop as well. So they were together for a number of years, and I'm sure that, you know, if I'm engaged or if I'm dating someone long-term and I'm in someone's wedding, I would hope that they would, you know, extend the invitation to my, you know, fiance, if that's the case. But either way, he was not in the wedding party. If this was a wedding, a Valentine's wedding of some sort, whatever type of wedding it was that was at least 2 years old, I would have expected him to still be there in attendance. So I do believe he was there. I just don't think he was in the wedding party. So either way, Natasha did a new video on on Facebook. I don't have Facebook. So shout out to the Open Book for allowing me to utilize this portion of her video of the aunt addressing us and giving some updates in this video here. This is her Facebook live stream video on her channel, on her page. So since I don't have Facebook, like I said, I'm so grateful to those who do upload those Facebook live stream videos. And no, I'm not getting Facebook. It's too messy. I don't want it. And you guys put it over here on YouTube so that more people can see it, because I think that's what the exposure is all about, right? You know, making sure that people who may not have Facebook is still able to view and upload and share the information. So that's what we're here to do. So make sure you guys hit the like button and subscribe to the LLC with Sweet Tea. This is my second channel. Come on over to the Lady Luck Club as well. I will be going live today from the main channel. But you guys come on over and hang out with us. We're going to be talking about a myriad of things tomorrow, Scientology Sunday. You know, we got to understand how these cults operate so you can understand what a cult leader looks like. And then we cover other topics such as the Umar Oompa Loompa Johnson and, of course, Candice, the White Walker Witch Owens on the main channel. So you guys give it a go and check it out and hit the like button. Hit the like button. It keeps these videos in the algorithm. And so let's move forward. Hopefully all is well. And, you know, we're always praying for the family, because losing a loved one is tough. So you guys, please give the family some grace, all right? Let's not just go out flat out attacking these people if it's not necessary. They don't need that stress. It's just not necessary. I know it can be frustrating, but, you know, I don't ever want to know what it's like losing a nephew that's like a son to me. I never want to know what that feels like. So we have to give Tasha some grace. She's been the spokesperson for the father side of the family. Give us some grace, all right? Let's get to it.
Hope y'all having a good Friday. He done brought us all week long.
Yes, he did.
God is awesome.
Amen.
More motivation as y'all come on here. I just want to say thank God for allowing all of us to make it through another day's journey.
Amen.
And start a fresh day on today. Whatever happened yesterday, make today a better day than the day before. So, this is what it is. I just want to say this. First off, he brought us all week long. From the beginning part of this week, one motivation with Auntie Tasha. I basically told you guys, write a vision. It's 2026. Write a vision. Make it plain. Write down your goals. Write down anything that you can do to better yourself as a person, better yourself as an individual, better your life. So that's what you have to do. I asked y'all to start putting up a plan to save. And if you haven't gotten a life insurance policy, think about it, discuss it, move forward, don't put it off. And it don't even cost much. It doesn't even cost a lot to get life insurance on you, your children, maybe your parents, whatever it is, check it out. It's worth to take the time out to put life insurance on your family, put life insurance on yourself, put life insurance, because a rainy day gonna definitely come. And you want to make sure that you're prepared when it comes. So I just want to say, stay focused. That was another topic that I had this week. Stay focused and eliminate those distractions that come your way. Yeah. Eliminate those things that try to deter you from whatever it is positive or whatever it is that you need to do to gain and move forward. Stay focused. Extend a hand. Extend a hand and make a difference with any differences you have against anybody, with your family, your loved ones. I said, make it right. Now, don't get me wrong. And I'm just going to say this with everything in me. If you extend the hand one time, okay, you already made the initiative. If you extend the hand 2 times and try to settle the difference and make it right 2 times, that's already pushing the extra mile to make it right. But if you got to do it the 3rd time, that's begging. And I'm gonna tell you like the same thing.
Okay.
So one thing about it, two things for sure, your hands are clean and you wash your hands when you already did your part to be the bigger person, to open up and say, whatever it is that's going on, I want to make it right. Whatever I did wrong, I can apologize for that. Wherever I was on a crooked road, I want to make it straight. So once you done made the initiative, you don't have to break your back. You don't have to keep begging. You don't have to continue to keep asking for forgiveness or saying I'm trying to be the bigger person. No, you wash your hands are clean. And I don't even know why I said that. But God, thank you for letting me say that to somebody. So I just want y'all to have a happy Friday. Know that God is in control. And
see, as you said that, because it might be sometimes God will send us a message for us to be ministered to as well. Perhaps she needed to hear that most of all. She's tried to reach out to Tyrone Jr.'s mother. And the mother, I personally would not try to do that because there's just a set of headaches that seems like it's going to come along with that. That's not something that God said we have to put up with. The Bible doesn't say we have to like someone or tolerate someone. We're to love each other as we love ourselves. And sometimes that might mean putting some distance and space in between. Sometimes we have to get ourselves back on track because we're not perfect. We're human beings. We're flawed, born in sin, saved by grace. Like, that's not, you don't have to take on a migraine just to deal with someone to say, I'm trying to extend a hand of, friendship or, trying to be solution oriented. Let me put it like that. Don't make people make you feel as if you have to. At the end of the day, let me tell you something. When you go to bed at night, you need to be at peace, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, as much as possible, especially when you're talking about grieving the loss of a loved one. The last thing you need to be dealing with is some nonsense and buffoonery. You do not have to deal with that. I don't know where in the Bible it says you have to deal with someone else's nonsense and buffoonery. So why put more on yourself than you can bear? That's not necessary. God doesn't want us going through unnecessary hardship that we bring it on ourselves because we think that that's what the Bible says we should be doing. Maybe God does not want you to do that. Perhaps he'll deal with the mother in his own way. And then the only thing you can do is just pray that God gives her grace. But however it happens, there's some consequences for the actions. She might be going through some things because God is trying to get her attention. Who knows? Don't hinder that. Let it happen. You don't even have to be vindictive with it. But if you know what comes along with certain people is going to have, some more negative consequences than positives, it's not going to end up in any real solutions, then you don't have to. You can just say, I love you. I'm praying for you. But we're praying for you and loving you from afar. Now go back on your side of the street. God bless your heart and all your parts. Kick rocks. I just don't get it. You don't have to go beyond that to say that you're still a Christian and that you love someone and that we still love God and God loves us. He does. His grace is sufficient for all. We're not God. So if God laid it upon your heart to extend a hand and you got rejection, okay, keep living. We're going to keep moving on. This person doesn't want to cooperate. Whatever. We're praying for them. We love them. And we got to keep moving on. We got to keep pressing towards the mark. So that's it. I don't even think, God will want us to sit and linger and to continuously look back over our shoulder as we're walking forward. You don't know what's ahead of you if you're constantly looking back, trying to reach back to someone. The whole concept of, oh, well, I wish the family would come together. Yeah, keep wishing that. It's just a wish. But in the reality in the scope of reality, if that doesn't happen, no one should feel bad about it. It should just be, it is what it is. God said it is so, it's done, we're moving on. The end. You have to pray and do what's best for you. And if it comes down the pipeline to where God says, I need you to press forward. Don't worry about that person. I got him. Don't. Look forward. Keep going. Then you do that because you rather walk in obedience than think you're sacrificing something. Doesn't the Bible say obedience is better than sacrifice? I do believe the Bible says that. Last time I checked, there's a whole scripture in the Bible that says obedience is better than sacrifice. So if God is telling you to move forward, you be obedient to that, and then everybody else can kick rocks because, hell is hot. Nobody should want to have to find out the hard way. Like, just do what God tells you to do. And if he says move forward, you got to move forward. So your peace is not worth, being rattled over somebody, a mere mortal who has not died on the cross for your sins. I always have to put this into perspective. The mother has not died on the cross for your sins at all. Her blood has no power. Her name has no power. It is what it is. The end. There you go. That should be all the motivation you need to move forward. And she does not pay your mortgage or your bills or put food on your table or anything like that. She does nothing. So when her presence in your home has zero effect, that should help you to be able to sleep peacefully at night. Her existence has no meaning in my household. She doesn't have to pay my mortgage. She doesn't have to take my kids to school. She doesn't have to pay for my medical bills. Look at God. So I could literally sleep peacefully knowing that I'm going to leave her over there to do whatever she's doing. And then we all going to keep moving forward. There you go. Heads up.
Along the way. And this for all of us. Examine those ones you have around you. And I said that to say this because when I was listening to Troll live yesterday, it was so many good points on that to say Troll have friends out here.
What is the real name?
A few of those close friends that's supposed to be close to my nephew. Not one of them acts justice to Troll. And to be
see? I said this in the video where I was talking about Jason. You can't make this up. He got all these friends. See, here's the thing. It is not difficult to see that Tyrone Jr. was the financial carrier for a lot of people. Family, friends. He was obligated legally and in the eyes of God to take care of his children. Those are the two factors that are never going to change. He was supposed to be there for his kids. He was not supposed to take care of grown-ass adults. You walking out and all you got is a white t-shirt, some jeans, and some little, $40 Nike sneakers. He wanted to upgrade you a little bit. Listen, it would have been on so many times. As a man, you go out and you should not be cool with another man buying you shoes. Like, you should have some problem with that. I'm a grown woman, and I'd be like, why are you buying me shoes? I appreciate the gift. That's a nice thought. But I'd rather you put that towards your kids, 501 savings or something, like get them a college savings plan. They seem very smart and intelligent. Prayerfully, they go to college. Put the money up for them to go to college. I can't imagine his homeboys, because, he's got all these brothers that's coming out of the woods, all these homeboys and male friends and stuff. And that's cool and all. But when I hear them speak more about how he financially did for them, as opposed to, here's just the long lasting effect that he had on me. Some of the encouraging words, some of the things that he said in this video or in this post, it actually changed my life. It helped me to be a better man, a better father, a better husband, a better friend and brother and nephew. I decided to challenge myself to be better, listening to him and following his example on the things that I learned from him that were positive. There were some things you can learn not to do. You can learn that from anybody on what not to do, but there's some things that you could have said and spoken out on what you learned from this young man on what to do. His friends aren't doing that. You're not hearing much of that. And they go on social media. A couple of them have come on social media trying to clarify something when they really left more lingering questions than anything else. And then when the conversation gets too heavy for them or too tense, then they just go ghost. But if you're, one of them was just talking about how he gave him money and he never asked to give it back. How he's like, hey man, I'm depressed. Let's go out of town to go get something to eat. Who's paying for that? That's not the only indication of a friendship. Friendship, people should be learning from each other and learning about each other. And then you love each other despite whatever finances and money one may have had over the other. It should be reciprocal. It should be a two-way street. So if his so-called friendships that he had with these grown-ass men, were not reciprocal, if it was solely based on his financial connections or their ability to gain financially from him, how is that defined to be a friendship? He could be a bank teller to these people for all they know. I mean, if that's the only transaction out of this is something related to money and finance, that doesn't necessarily define a friendship, and we all know that. So if the closest ones to him are not saying anything about, I'm trying to help get justice, let's go to, the mayor's office and get a meeting, go to the police commissioner, talk about how horrible Gainesville Police Department is, that the family should not have a problem getting his male friends on board with protesting, holding up signs, coming to the meetings with them, and speaking out about how horrible the police department is and how incompetent they are because they don't know how traffic camera lights work. Like, all these things that his friends should just be doing. The private investigator, they seem like if they had a lot of money, they hung out together and all these things, they all can dress head to toe. Get those homeboys, get outside and do some car washes and raise some money to pay for this private investigator. That the homeboys can come together and say, hey, Auntie Natasha, we don't want you to feel burdened with this financially, because for so many years, he would give us money and never ask for it back in return. So here we're returning the favor now. It's time for us to be a blessing to you, to help get this private investigator, because Gainesville Police Department are god awful. But these are things that people can just recognize, and I even said this myself. Now, one of them that mentioned the money and how they would go out and hang out, get something to eat and all this other stuff. Of course, I'm standing here looking at the video like, so I'm assuming Tyrone Jr. paid for all this stuff. But I never questioned whether or not he was his friend, because I saw the hurt and pain in his eyes when he was talking to Jason. I can't remember the guy's name. Is it Looney? Yeah. I saw the hurt and pain in his eyes when he was talking to Jason in live stream. When he found out that Jason was picked up by the mother and allowed to go to the hospital, allegedly. I believe Jason was already there with the girlfriend. But the fact that he knew what was going on and he didn't tell Looney at all. And Looney is like, so you were able to go there, you knew what was happening and you didn't tell anyone? That was his first time even hearing that this young man that Jason was able to go to the hospital, and had kept it all this time. Had kept that to himself for at least, 6-7 weeks? That he was there already, that the mother allegedly picked him up. And here you have Looney, another friend, someone who also cared, that was slighted by the mother and couldn't even get a call or a text. And I even pointed that out. I said that has to be hurtful to him, especially if he sees him like a brother. It doesn't take away the fact that, he came out talking about how much you give him money and never asked for it back. But now here's your opportunity to say, okay, I might not be able to do a whole lot financially, but what I am going to do is donate towards this private investigator. Help however I can to get information, whatever is needed. We're getting out signs to help Gainesville Police Department, the commissioner, understand that this department are gross and incompetent. They already have statistics proving how so many unsolved crimes, are able to just slip through, the holes every year. Gainesville Police Department does not have a great track record of solving, a lot of the unalivings that occur in their city. Unless you have money or you are, of a certain race, they don't care. They don't take time to even do a complete police incident report. They haphazard with it. And then they get offended when you want to go over their head. Well, tell them to kick rocks. They don't want to deal with it anyway, apparently. So go over their head to the state level. Tell the police commissioner, your police department are god awful. They're garbage. They're incompetent. They don't know how cameras work. They lied to us about that. And it was a dumb lie. They keep saying they're investigating, but they won't tell us anything else. They're not doing anything. So don't get upset and offended when we get out and do this news press, this presser, because they can help call for a press conference. We're like his band of brothers. And we're here trying to help push for justice. And we want this case to be escalated up to the state level. We want the, investigatory bureau for the state of Florida to look at this. We're not waiting on Gainesville Police Department to keep giving us the runarounds. They're stalling. And for them to go against medical records to say that this was just an accident, and the medical records, the doctors that examined him, would say something completely different. And mind you, doctors went to medical school. So I'm more willing to believe the doctors than I am to believe some dumbass cops that don't want to look into this case. And they can't even research how traffic camera lights work. Nope, we're going to believe the doctors, the ones with the medical degrees. The investigators don't even have law degrees. We're not fooling around with that nonsense. They can kick rocks and they can be mad until Jesus comes. We're going over their head. That's what these brothers, the friends, the close friends of Tyrone could be doing. It's not going to interfere with the private investigator. They're going to work independently from the police department, from law enforcement, and hopefully the PI will draft up a recommendation for charges and take it straight to the prosecutor. Because the prosecutor ultimately is the one that brings any criminal charges to the court of law. That comes by way of the prosecutor, whether it be the DA, which is the district attorney, or an AG, which is the attorney general for that state. It's going to come from a prosecutor, whoever's prosecuting the case, if there are any criminal charges to come out of this. At this rate, it'll never come from Gainesville Police Department. They'll never recommend anything because they've already made up their mind what they believe was the overall what happened. They believe the main storyline of what was told to them. No evidence, no nothing. We don't know what vehicles were processed. Any evidence to show that they've reviewed the 911 calls, pulled out any discrepancies in that. Nothing. They just automatically came out and said, yep, it was an unfortunate accident, despite medical records. Because that can debunk them in the court of law, but they don't care. Law enforcement will lie in court under oath. There are many police officers that have been caught on the bench in a hearing lying, and the judge has to call them, and they don't like doing it, but they have to call it out. Officer, you are lying. Now you're perjuring yourself. You see that? Take that to court if you want to, talking about, oh yeah, it was just an accident. He jumped out of a car. Can you provide evidence on how that happened? Even better. Here's what the brothers could do. Go with the family. The family can schedule some time to, based on all that the girlfriend has said that occurred, take Jason with them and make him create the timeline. Retrace the steps of what occurred. Retrace the steps of everything that the girlfriend said and record it so that you can see the many loopholes in it. And then the private investigator can use that as a part of his investigation and add it to his recommendation, to which I'm hoping, because why else would a PI come on board if not to be able to give a final written report and recommendation on, here's some evidence that can support these charges. That's the whole purpose of that, is, to bring forth evidence that would support some criminal charges here. So do a whole replay from start to finish and retrace the steps of the girlfriend based on what she has said and based on what they know they have seen in the surveillance camera footage, from Papa John's to the hotel to the Circle K, whatever the father can get his hands on, whatever he has seen. I do believe Natasha said she did not see the Papa John's footage. Whatever the father has seen, whatever they can see, go to the places and retrace the steps and start with the hotel. Okay, so from the hotel, here's where they parked, in this parking spot. And then look around you to see if there are any cameras on the hotel, because there's going to be cameras on the doors and the exits and all of that. See how much square footage this camera is going to cover based on whether they park. So where did they park when they went to the hotel? Who all went into the hotel to do the check-in? After check-in was done, if you know where they parked, then maybe you can get some security camera footage for that particular camera based on where they were parked at. Then you can see who all got out of the car. Were there any other guests that came to the hotel room or sitting or parked near the vehicle? And then when you get ready to leave, take the route that she claims she took. Did she turn right or left? When I say retrace the steps and create the timeline. Ask around, see what the mother should have been doing this with the girlfriend either way. That way she could say, okay, what time did this occur? What time did you leave? What time did you all decide to go get something to eat with Papa John's? Did you call in or did you do an order online? That's going to come with a confirmation, which will come with a date and time stamp. So let's say they order some Papa John's online on the phone. Then they can see if Papa John's can pull that order. Or the mother can call the girlfriend and say, can you pull the Papa John's order if you place the order online? Can you get the confirmation over to me? Now you got a date and time stamp. Now you have something to kind of, corroborate when they left the hotel to arrive at the Papa John's to pick it up. I'm sure if they ordered it online, it would be ordered to pick up and not for delivery. So now you have some more defined time frames to work with. A timeline is something that's standard that even investigators utilize to help build a case. That tells the story of what occurred. It gives the date and time stamps. They also should have, the signals and stuff that comes from these cell phones. Cell phones hitting all these towers is going to give you coordinates and date and time stamps. You can get to the Papa John's. Okay, where did you park? How far away? Did any other car pull up next to your car? Did any other car pull up next to the vehicles over at the hotel? Well, at any given time, did any other guests come to the hotel to go to the room? How many bags did they get out of the car? All these things. When I say I would be very nitpicky and ask for detailed information for this timeline. When you pulled out, did you go right or left from the Papa John's? How long were you in the Papa John's? How long did it take for him to pick up the food? Did he go in and stand in there? Did he go in, pay, come out, and then go back in? What happened? This is stuff that the mother could have been doing with the girlfriend. Retrace their steps and live stream everything. So we can all see this. When you left the Papa John's, did you cut left or go right? You turned left? Okay, if you turned left, you were going back towards, where were you going? What was the destination? So y'all just went, picked up food. That's a waste of money. Then what? Nobody ate the food. Anybody notice that? Who does that? Who orders food and don't eat it? Did the girlfriend ever eat any of that food? It doesn't seem like a lot of time passed that allowed either of them to even open the boxes to eat the damn food in the first place. So who does that? That's so, either that's being done to throw off the timeline, to just throw in some insignificant point to it, just to say we went here, or some things transpired at the Papa John's and it's being missed and overlooked. Then it's not even normal to go and order a bunch of food and then you don't eat it. I mean, everybody likes Papa John, right? I'm at least opening the box up to make sure that the order is correct. And if I have some wings, yeah, I'm eating one. Like that, explain that to me. Hot, fresh food, not even eaten at all. Was the girlfriend not hungry? What was the purpose of going to Papa John's if you're not going to eat the food? So that right there is not a normal pattern of behavior. You don't just go buy a bunch of food and then you don't eat it, and there's a reason why it's now all over the side of the road. It's still a waste no matter what. What was the purpose of doing that? Most people who are unaliving somebody, they're not going to sit here and take time to throw food out on the side of the road. Why would they need to do that? That's an unnecessary filler. These are the questions that can be asked if you had a timeline. And you can ask the 5 W's. Who, what, when, where, why. And then how. Why would you all go to Papa John's knowing you're not hungry? You're not going to eat any of this food because you didn't eat it. And then you throw it out on the side of the road. What was the point? That just seemed to be very unnecessary, unless that whole process of going to Papa John's was done as a cover-up to something else that was being done at the same time. So I want to be able to say we went to Papa John's and got some food, while these other things were happening behind the scenes at different locations. So the Papa John's could just be a ruse. It could just be something that occurred because she's trying to cover up something else that happened. Maybe it was a spot where they met up at. Maybe another car pulled up next to her vehicle. And they were all at the Papa John's. Who knows? Nobody ate the damn food. That's not normal. So the purpose of going there obviously was not to just get something to eat, because no one ate. It was to do something else. It's either to, let me just be able to add to timeline, so when they ask me what did I do, I can say I went to the Papa John's and be telling the truth. But good investigators aren't going to just say, what did you do? They're going to say, why did you go? They're going to ask, what was the intent? If you didn't eat the food, then why did you go there? Was something wrong with the food? If it were, you would have went back in and said, hey, there's an issue with this pizza and the wings. I need a new order, or I need a refund, right? People don't just go buy food arbitrarily. If it's just an accident, think about it. This is just an accident. You're not going to just go buy food. Waste money with that. I don't care if you got the money or not. It's still a waste. And then something happens and someone decides to just hypothetically jump out of a car, which is preposterous to me. But they still got the food with them. No, you're not jumping with the food. No one does that. No one puts themselves in the line of danger with the box of food and a box of pizza in their hands. You're not going to eat it. It's not normal. Considering what you're trying to allege, that's not a normal pattern of behavior. That is so unorthodox. It's almost as if it's designed to be confusing. So let's just say that going to the Papa John's was a filler fluff. That's something you can discover just by talking through this and creating that timeline. Okay, when you left the Papa John's, was there any other cars following you? Any other cars trailing you from the Papa John's? Because you got to find it suspicious for her to go and turn from the Papa John's to go back to, I would assume, the hotel. I can't say for sure. I'm just assuming They're going back somewhere where, theoretically, if it was all an accident, you would assume they're going somewhere where they can eat this food they bought. Because that's the purpose of buying the food. It's because you're eating it or you're feeding someone, right? So if you're going back towards that hotel, then why all of a sudden would you do a U-turn? And then go back towards where the Papa John is that you just left. And in the midst of that happening, now he ends up outside of in the middle of the road with the food in his hand. Why does he need the food? He's injured. He's got blunt force trauma to the back of the head, which is verified with medical records. Why would he need to eat? He's not eating. So why is the food with him? These are the questions that can be asked when you put this timeline together. Retrace those steps. And then you can ask those questions at every point. You can be asking these questions. When you turned out from the Papa John's, did you get stopped by at a red light? Because the incompetent ass police department thinks that the lights only trigger when you run the red light. You can't make this up. You can't make this up. So how long did you have to sit at the red light? Well, the light's green. Did you go straight through the lights? The lights were operating, by the way. But if you got stopped at a red light, how long did you have to sit at this red light? So from this light to this light, were these lights green or red or green? How did that go? When I say I would be drilling her behind on every single thing, every step you made in this whole process, you're going to retrace the steps and you're going to tell me exactly what you did. When you went through the light, why did you do the U-turn? Did you get a phone call at this time? Did you get a text message? Was there any communication happening? What were you two exactly arguing about? Normal, even if someone is thinking about doing the inevitable, they're not going to do it with food in their hand. So no, he's not going to jump out of a car with food in his hands. That's not what people do. It's beyond reality. It's not even logical. It's an inconvenience, and it would just be just a moot point. You want somebody to get out of the car with hot food you just purchased. I mean, make that make sense. They're not going to eat it. So that whole Papa John stop was done to cover up something else that was being done that was even more tragic. It's a filler. It's a matter of, I want to be able to say I went to the Papa John's and not lied about it. I want to be able to justify why I was on that side of the highway, underneath the bypass, why we even traveled that way. Yeah, let me say I traveled that way strictly because we had to go to Papa John's. Now do you all understand it takes a totally different meaning? So as opposed to you just saying, well, because they could have gotten something to eat anywhere else if they were that hungry. The girlfriend is too bourgeoisie to just want Papa John's like that. I highly doubt she, of all the restaurants on the side of where the hotel is, she wants Papa John's to pick up. You can't make this up. If you're having an argument, you're going to want to go somewhere where you can sit down and actually, whether you're in the car or in the hotel room, you're just trying to talk this out. You're not going to keep going into the public and have this argument distracted. So I don't think they were even having an argument. It's not plausible. For the short time frame that all of this transpired, an argument is not seemingly plausible in this storyline, in this timeline. Because if anything, we'll order Papa John's, we'll just have, DoorDash delivered. They're down the street. Why do we need to go out of our way to go down there to go and get it? They can just bring it to us. I can't imagine him going cheap on the delivery, So I believe he would have ordered it for it to be delivered. They had to leave the cabin to go to a hotel. Driving, they probably were tired and exhausted. It's not plausible. But you're going to order some Papa John's as opposed to just, let me go through a drive-thru. I'm not trying to get out of the car. We're exhausted. We're arguing. Last thing I want for the person I'm having this discussion with to have an out, to be able to go somewhere to get out of a car. No, of all places at a pizza joint. And then y'all don't even eat the food. No, that could have happened with it could have been any restaurant. There was a reason why they had to go to that one though. Because perhaps they had to find a way to explain why they wanted to put him out underneath the highway. Not necessarily because think about it. Something happened to him where somebody came from behind him and delivered a blow to the back of the head. I don't know how big Gainesville is, but I do know that street seems too busy for you to just dump a body anywhere. No, he didn't fall and hit his head, at the gas station. No, that wasn't a bump. That was blunt force trauma. So if it's, mother doesn't understand what that looks like, she could watch a video on blunt force trauma and the impacts to the back of the head. Based on what the doctors who went to medical school said occurred with her son and the injuries itself, she can look up videos on what that looks like and how do you incur this type of injury. And the video will explain to you how much energy is needed to not only break open the skull like that, but then to have skull fragment pieces go from the back to the front of the head. That's a mighty hard blow. So she could watch videos on that and just understand the anatomy of that. And she refuses to educate herself on that. That's simple to me. That's a Google search. If you don't understand, Google it. Look it up. There are videos on certain things you can watch. It's about human anatomy and science. But there had to be a reason for them to feel like they have to go underneath this bypass. Can't just dump them in the parking lot, right? But you can try to push him out of a moving vehicle and make it seem like he got hit by a car. 3 different 911 calls. I will be listening intently to each of those calls. Listening to the background noises. Listening to the vocal patterns of the individual talking. They sound like they're an authentic, true person, or are they trying to throw their voice to sound like someone else? Of course, 911 can always trace the calls. The police department can trace the call and where they originated from. And then if you know who it is, you can get a subpoena for the phone, and then they can get the data off their phone to figure out exactly where they were. Your phone sends off signals to cell towers, and those pings give coordinates. They can figure out, okay, all these cars involved, let's run the plates, let's run the VIN numbers, see where they were registered, see if they've been picked up by traffic cameras. Were they rented out? Was there an enterprise nearby? Or did these cars travel a long way? The girlfriend left the hospital, never went back. Explain that. Like, these are lingering questions that helping to develop a timeline will help resolve. And when I say start to finish, even after you leave the Papa John's, okay, where did you go? Why did you all turn back? Why did you bust this U-turn? How exactly did he get out of the car? Who was the red vehicle? When you went up to the Circle K, where did you park? What would the surveillance cameras reveal? Would it corroborate or debunk the stuff you're telling me? Because, cameras everywhere. You just have to remind the girlfriend, there's only so much lying you're going to do when you have cameras all over you. So you mean to tell me you didn't see anything going on, and Google Maps gives you a vantage point. If you're at the Circle K, all you have to do is just look towards the highway and you can see exactly what's going on. Hell, did you get out of the car? A camera would have captured her out of the car if she got out. Circle K has cameras. You figure out where she parked and you can see where a camera was near her vehicle at the Circle K. You can see how long she sat there. Then when you saw the paramedics, you ran up, and I'm assuming you left the car at the Circle K. How long did it take you to get up the street? How long did it take you to get back? When you drove to the hospital, which way did you go? When I say trace her steps. And don't let her up. When you got to the hospital, where did you park? You went to the deck? What happened? Take me through, retrace the steps of everything, everywhere you went. Who did you call? How did you get up to the floor he was on? I'm assuming he was in ICU. What did you tell these people? Like, I will retrace her steps from start to finish, and you create that timeline yourself. And whatever gaps and holes are in it, that's what the PI, okay, we need to focus on, because it's not necessarily what's said and what's done. It's what's not being said and what's not being expressed as to what was done. Or the inconsistencies of, yeah, you guys going to get something to eat, but nobody eats the food. Those are the things the PI is going to look at and say, yeah, that's not normal. It seemed like they just did that to go there just because they wanted to have an alibi. They wanted to kind of fill the gaps in this alibi that makes no sense. 3 people calling 911, all saying different things. That's only done when you have some plot or plan going on and they're trying to be intentionally distracting. When they want it to be convoluted and confusing. Because most people who are just concerned about something happening to someone, trying to get them some, medical services, are not going to just call and say random things. Oh, he got hit by a car. Oh, I saw someone, he jumped out of a car. No, why is everybody saying something different? These people were able to see this person jump out of a car or get hit by a car. Okay, so where were they when they placed that 911 call? What was their vantage point? Would they even be able to see something like that? Why wouldn't the witnesses come forward? All 3 people that made the 911 calls should not have a problem talking with law enforcement and this PI. That's what you would hope, right? These are the things that the PI hopefully will start to piece together. That's what they're going to do. Start with creating this timeline of what happened. And then for all the gaps and the holes and the inconsistencies, that's where they're going to ask the questions and then go out and do the research and get the evidence to help answer those questions. Who, what, when, where, why, and how. It's obvious that they went to the Papa John's just to have a filler in their alibi. To be able to say, we went out and got something to eat. Because there were other restaurants they could have went to. Clearly. No one had to get out of a car. They're having an argument and they want to get out and go to Papa John's. That's stupid. It makes no sense. So all the other restaurants around, let's say they're craving some pizza, I still say they could have just easily had it DoorDash and ordered and delivered. But it just seems like a random, okay, let's just find a reason to get underneath this bypass so that we can claim that he jumped out of a car. It's ridiculous. But then you throw out the food next to him. How dumb is that? But what they did, see, criminals are stupid. What they did was they gave a clue for any good investigator to see. No, that's because that's so abnormal and unorthodox. And I don't care if you are trying to dispose of somebody. You're not throwing out a bunch of food all over the place. You're just not going to do that. So this is the first time I've ever heard something like that. Somebody jumping out of a car with food. That makes no sense. But it's probably done to try to muddy the crime scene. So all the things that have been done that so far that the girlfriend said has occurred and what the family has discovered between the witnesses, the nurse and her fiance, the homeless persons outside, those who have come forward saying they saw what happened. There were a lot of things that were done just to kind of be fillers in this alibi and to try to justify them getting underneath that bypass because they wanted to get rid of him in the most cruel way possible, as opposed to him being found near a dumpster. Because that's, I guess in their minds, it's just that happens all the time. Let's keep it dramatic and just ridiculous. We'll say he got hit by a vehicle or he jumped. Pick one. It's not even consistent with that. But this is where the PI comes in, and then they start to ask these questions of all the inconsistencies and all the filler points. And this is something the mother could have tried to do with the girlfriend since she claims to be close. Get in this car, you, me, and my 2 daughters, all 4 of us finna have a mother-daughter day out. You're going to retrace the steps of what you did, where you went, and I'm going to ask questions along the way. Now, get froggy if you want to. My 2 daughters are here. We will beat your ass. And that's it. And then you retrace the steps. Then you ask questions. Write it down, record it. That could have happened in the beginning. The mother didn't even do that. That wouldn't have been hard for her to do. Nope, retrace the steps. I need to know exactly where you and my son went. And I'm recording it. So everybody can see how this story doesn't add up. And I would do it on the spot. You don't have to give her a heads up. Just go do it. So when you have a mother that has no care or concern of what exactly occurred, no desire to retrace the steps of the girlfriend at all, how many more times are you supposed to extend a hand to somebody like her? How many times? You can't make this up. No, those are the people you leave over there. You just leave them high and dry. You say, you know what? Screw that. If you don't want to do this, I'm going to go out and get all the camera footages I can. Talk to people. We're going to do whatever we got to do. We'll recreate a timeline. We'll follow the steps. We'll walk it if we have to. Okay, y'all. She started here. We can only assume she parked here or here. And then when she left, we're gonna walk this path. We're gonna all go, we're walking down, we're gonna turn left, we're gonna go right. Whatever turns and twists and U-turns she took, we're gonna do it. Because we got to visualize this happening here. And then the mother just be left out of it. And then whatever she has, whatever involvement she has in it, there's gonna be some evidence, because criminals are stupid, that's going to tell on her. This was not executed well enough for anybody to get away with. I mean, I can see a lot of issues with it from the very beginning. That's why I'm sitting here saying, the idea of getting food and not eating it, that's dumb. And then y'all throw it out and waste it out on the street. All of that was designed to be distracting. All of that was just done to have a filler in your alibi. And then she runs up and the first thing she says, I was just at the gas station, that she could easily see from the bypass. Because Google, the Google Maps can tell on her about that. Like, it's not that difficult to say, no. You were sitting there. You were able to see everything happening. You just not want to run up because the paramedics came. But if the idiots are a part of the 911 calling thing, just to throw it off, why call 911? If you're trying to get away with something, you don't even want 911 to come out, right? So who are the three people that called 911? And why are their stories conflicting so bad? That's the questions that the PI is going to ask and try to get evidence on. So let's get back to this, you all. I just wanted to get that out there because I don't know if anybody has actually tried to retrace all the steps of the girlfriend and what she said occurred so that you can obliterate it and see how dumb she is. She's not smart. She's a narcissist, but she's not smart. Narcissists want to be the smartest people in the room. Does not mean that they're actually intelligent. No, the girlfriend is a complete idiot. And whether she was the mastermind or she had something to do with it or she was just involved in the plan of it, she's not very bright. Criminals have a way of telling on themselves. They're going to mess up. And someone paying attention, they'll see where this is where you messed up bad. See, while you thought you were not on camera here, you really were. You didn't think that traffic camera light was recording your little punk ass. You okay with the police selling wrong information because somehow Google does not exist in your world. Now somebody come along and debunk it because the information is out there to prove them wrong. So no, it was recording what you did. It recorded what happened underneath that bypass. You can't make this up. This is so crazy. Let's get back to it.
The one that was supposed to be girlfriend was even rejoicing, giving a shout out to Lulu. And he also said, how can you stand for Dro when Lulu was the last one with Dro and Lulu allowed whatever situation when she let him out that car and didn't look back take place? We ain't gonna sugarcoat it. We ain't gonna beat around the bush like we don't know what's going on. Y'all know what's going on. But that same friend, you rejoice by the YouTube channel. It gives you not even a questionable moment on your love and loyalty for my nephew. Because the simple fact is, you was the first one there with Lulu at the hospital. Davis ain't know nobody, The Davis of the kids ain't seen you one time since he passed to this day. You never came around. Sometimes you really have to examine those that's under your wings and that you think in your corner. Them snakes be envious. Them snakes be jealous. Them snakes be hating. And at the same, let me tell you why they admire everything that you do. Because your enemies don't take their eyes off you. Your enemies got to watch every move you make. Your enemies be right there to capture every single praise point, but they can't wait for the moment you trip. They can't wait for the moment you fall. They can't wait for the moment you go through something, because that's that time that they take that moment to rejoice, to say, oh, she ain't got it all together. He ain't got it all together. Look, you see, there's a bruise, there's a bump in the road. Those same ones, boy, make you really, really, and let me tell you, they ain't always friends, it can be family too. But you have to check yourself or you wreck yourself, because the main ones be rooting for you or be the same ones, just like Jesus. Y'all already know they was waving the palm trees when he came to town. And not even a week later, they was having him on the cross saying, crucify him, crucify him. You can't be on both sides. So it's either you're over there or you're over here. That's it. Right now, we on Strong, we on Focus, T2, Dro, Tyrone Davis Jr., Stepdaddy Dro. That's who we cheering for. Nobody else. Y'all distractions is not going to hinder us. But guess what? It exposed who really there for you. It exposed really who team you on. So that's what we root for. Y'all have a happy Friday once again. Do those vision boards. It's 2026. Make it plain. Think about life insurance. Go get you some life insurance. Save. That's what we do in 2026. Higher. Also, before I go, Natalie Davis, her number is 954-297-7503. She accepts Chime, Apple Pay, Zelle in order to make a payment. And also, if you want to do cash out, you can call Natalie Davis as well, too, to make a payment. So we can go ahead and get this private investigator hired on the team, and we can make something happen for Tyrone Davis Jr. Later.
Hey, Valentine's Day, man. Y'all go check out T2 YouTube, man. Kiara was able to get all his vlogs posted to all his videos. He still had them posted to a memory page for him for YouTube. And that was her way of, doing something for him for Valentine's Day. Man, shout out to Kiara for that. Like, I really do appreciate that. Now everybody get to relive all the memories with him. And hopefully to give everybody some peace that, still sitting uneasy with all the BS that's going around. Despite all the BS that's going around, I'm glad that Kiara still posted those vlogs, and hopefully, I don't know, some kind of positivity come out of this, because I don't know what everybody got going on, but hopefully this too shall pass. So y'all go check it out, Kiara.
Okay, first of all, don't say you don't know what's happening when you're watching the videos. You're telling on yourself. You can't pretend to be oblivious. It makes you sound even dumber than you look. You know what's going on. You know what's being said. It would be best for you to say, I would rather not address it. I've seen the videos and the posts, and I'd rather not address it. But why are you rooting for her? Who is she to you? Who is this guy? I don't have Facebook, so I don't know who this clown is. Why are you rooting for her? As opposed to asking her, why did you leave him outside underneath the highway with food in his hands? Because no one does that. It just doesn't happen. As heinous as it is, the idea of him having blunt force trauma to the back of the head, because you're not even questioning that, and that's in medical records. But somehow he's found underneath a highway with this injury that a car would not necessarily be able to just do without causing injury to the rest of the body. And the food is all over the place. Because reasons. Make this make sense. Why not just ask her these questions about all her discrepancies? So why did you say this in the beginning? And then you turn around and said this. I know his friends aren't being some cowards and some punk asses now. And you don't have to deal with any drama or stress. But why stop advocating for the truth to come out? The girlfriend is a narcissist. No one should care how she feels. She's a narcissist. She would rather come out and try to debunk something about a phone as opposed to explain why she said that he fell at the gas station and bumped his head. Knowing damn well you can't get the blunt force trauma to the back of the head where it causes the severe injury of forcing skull fragment pieces to go from the back to the front. That doesn't come from a bump. But no one wants to challenge that because human anatomy and science is hard for his friends. What is going on? I hate it when people act stupid. It's not necessary when you can just research information. Read and research information. And all that get some understanding. You want to be positive, be informed. They say a way to keep people ignorant is to put it in a book. God. So this is what his friends are doing? Or is this her friend? It seems to be more of her friend than his friend. Because I can't fathom why he would not at least challenge all the varying stories that have been told about what happened to him, at the very least. And her being the narcissist that she is, of course she's going to run from it. Because she knows that it makes no sense. Narcissists do that. They also don't understand the idea of hypocrisy. So they can be hypocritical into Kingdom Come. They will never care about that. They don't care about the concept or the definition of the word hypocrisy. They'll be a hypocrite until they drop. Because they're narcissists. They don't like to be wrong about anything. Of course, they're never going to look in the mirror. They're not going to evaluate themselves. Certain things you should not expect a narcissist to do. And a narcissist has to be the smartest person in the room. So that should go and tell you what that means for all the people that are kissing her ass around her. If the girlfriend Kiara is the smartest person in the room and she's still an idiot, what does that say about all the people that's sitting here rooting her on? They all have to be dumber than she is. They can't be smarter than her. They can't even be on her level. Narcissists like Kiara has to be the smartest person in the room. So in her inner circle, in her room, she's the smartest one. And she's still stupid. So now you get to understand the intellect of everybody else in the room. They're dumber than she is. And they're not going to challenge her. They're not going to question her. And even if you do, you have to have her in an interrogation room with, two grown men that have, badges and guns and handcuffs because they need to be able to reiterate, oh, your little ass ain't going nowhere. Otherwise, she's going to avoid the conversation altogether. She's going to avoid the topic. Oh, no, she's never going to just explain why she said that he fell and bumped his head at a gas station, knowing that he was never at the gas station from the way she put it, based on her timeline of events. He never even made it to a gas station. She did. He was outside underneath the highway bypass by that point, before she got to the Circle K. But do you think these clowns are going to ask her, okay, why would you even say that? Nope. Because they have to be dumber than she is. Dumber than their stupid cult leader, narcissistic, moronic goon that would rather respond to, a cell phone being cut off, but not why you've given at least 3 different versions of what occurred to him. You can't make this up.
I appreciate that. Thank you again from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much for posting these memories so everybody can relive them. And yeah, y'all go check out the YouTube, man.
Who the hell is this guy? Shout out to the open book. Oh, that was funny at the end. Oh my God. Give her a shout out. He doesn't say anything about, you know what? I want to make sure that whatever she's saying, it needs to make sense, and it doesn't. No. None of that makes sense. No. she needs to go and turn herself into the Gainesville Police Department. If this helper thinks that, I was at the gas station and he's outside the car with the hot food. Why aren't you in the car with the food? Like, simple basic questions that in this reality here on earth, most people would do. If somebody were to even get out of a car, they upset. Let's say they didn't get hit and hurt or harmed. They just got out and start walking. They're not taking the food with them. So if you pulling over at a gas station, wait for them to catch up, you're not going to sneak a bite of pizza. You out of your damn mind. I'm opening the food up. It's hot. I want to eat. I'm hungry. Or else, why did you buy the food? Because obviously you're not hungry. You didn't buy it to eat it. You bought the stuff for it to be a distraction, for you to contaminate the crime scene. Let's throw out the pizza and the wings over there and let's just make it seem like he fell out and with the food in his hand. That's not plausible. And there's case laws, precedents to show that. People who jump out of cars, they don't have food in their hand. They don't have items in their hands. It's restricting. If there's a chance that they're jumping out and not jumping out to die, but they're jumping out because they're upset and angry, they're not going to have anything in their hand but their phone. And it's not going to be from a moving vehicle at 25 miles per hour. But these are questions that this idiot could be asking her, but he's not asking because he's dumber than she is. Can't make this up. All right, y'all. That's all I have. I just had to react to this. And I had to, hopefully the family does do a, recreate the timeline of events that occurred. Go out and do it in person. Because it's the only way you'll really be able to imagine what he went through in those moments and know what questions to actually, propose to the PI. You want to give them a good starting point too. Say, hey, we did a recreation of this timeline. We went to the hotel. We traveled to the Papa John's. We went underneath the bypass. We did the U-turn. We parked in the same parking spots that they were in. We recreated that entire event. We have, man, you will not believe how crazy this is. The story is even dumber when you go and recreate it because it doesn't make sense. There's so many gaps and holes in this. And we live streamed it. Here's the video. He might just go and do whoever the PI is. It sounds like he could be a guy based on what the aunt was saying. He might go and recreate it himself and just travel the path, retrace the steps to try to fill in some of the gaps and try to ask some questions like, what the hell? How would they be able to do this if they're in this lane but not this lane? Or if she made this U-turn here and she got a red light, how easy would that have been for her to continue to flow? Let's say if there are other cars with her. Let's say she's traveling and leaving the Papa John's. Now there's 2 cars trailing her. How would they be able to do this and pull this off? Like, those are the things he'll be able to ask if he would retrace the steps, right? So the timeline is going to be very important. Hopefully all of that, will, the PI can sit down and get some evidence to kind of corroborate or debunk what occurred. And, be able to bring forth a report and recommendation for charges to be filed. Because that is what my, end goal would be. If I hire a PI, please understand I'm hiring you to fill in these gaps, to gather evidence, not just to follow one person, but just to follow the evidence of wherever it's leading you to, and then get a recommendation. We can take this to the prosecutor and tell them to get to work and stop playing in our faces. Because the police department are incompetent and we can just continue to live like they don't exist because they're living as if we don't exist. So we want them to feel the pain and the brunt of that. Ditto. Gainesville Police Department wants to continue on like the family does not exist. Okay, we can do the same. We'll go on as if they don't exist and they can kiss our ass in the process. We don't care about your pride and your ego. Get mad. Go run around. Stop lying to us about how traffic camera lights work too. That was an insult. We looked that up. That's not how that works. Why lie to us about something so simple? Yeah, just tell them to kick rocks and jump off a bridge or whatever they're going to do. But they're not investigating anything. They're just withholding information because they know corroborating what the girlfriend said made them look like the dumbasses that they are. And they spoke ahead of themselves and they spoke against medical records, against the actual injury. They could have went to the hospital and spoken with the medical examiner. That's standard in the investigations like this. But they didn't. They were, it's just unfortunate, but this is what happened. No, they just went on what she said. Because they some clowns. So if they get upset and offended, tell them, eat that pride and there you go. Kick rocks, go to hell, whatever. Kiss our ass. We don't care. We got a PI. Y'all can get the hell on. And you will not restrict our PI from doing anything. He's going to have the backing of the Florida Bureau of Investigations or the FBI or however. Don't stand in his way. And some of us are going to be right there with him when he wants to go out and recreate the timeline of events and trace the steps. We all going to be right there watching him do it. We'll call it a protest. We don't care how we got to put it. Stay out of our way because y'all want us out y'all way. Okay, cool. Don't come over here where we are. You may have to just tell that to the Gainesville Police Department because they don't care. GPD does not care. And they some clowns. They just lying about dumb things. So make sure you guys leave your comments and thoughts below. I don't care if the wedding was a year or two ago, if it's old or new. It's the fact that expecting narcissists to make these types of moves. If she's out in the public, this is how she behaves and acts any other time. I wouldn't expect her to change and do anything any differently. She's a narcissist. So once you understand who you're dealing with and what you have in your hands here, you'll know how to treat them and how to handle them. She's the smartest person in the room, and she's still an idiot. Now imagine everybody else that is sitting here kissing her butt, trying to give her the benefit of the doubt. They have to be dumber than her. You don't owe them anything else either. No one owes her anything. No one owes her civility. You don't owe her that. It's not about hatred, it's about justice. So if she, oh, they're hating me and blah, 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 girl, define the word hate. This is coming from someone now, mind you, who believes that they're the smartest person in the room and would rather debunk something about a phone being cut off. But not about how he fell and bumped his head and somehow that led to skull fragment pieces shifting from the back to the front, because that never happens. Science does not back that up from a bump. God. So I don't care what she thinks and how she feels. She's very ignorant to a lot of things, including science and human anatomy. She's not a very bright and intelligent person. And you can go to school and read some stuff and retain information to pass a test and get grades. Does not mean you have common sense. This girl lacks the common sense God gave a billy goat. The one that comes straight from hell with the 666 on his head. That's tight. Can't make this up. All right, y'all. I appreciate it. All your support, comments, likes, shares, subs, all those things. Keep on at it. And until the next one, Lady Luck Club out.